Hey guys, it's Chelsea from Little Mountain Ranch. Welcome back to my channel. We are heading down to the little greenhouse that is now my little plant nursery to pot up tomatoes, and I wanted to give you a little tour. I guess it doesn't really need a tour, it's not that big, but just to show you what we ended up doing in the end. It looks fantastic. I'm really happy with it, and it's also super functional. As you can see, we still have snow, but I am in a t-shirt, so I feel like we're heading in the right direction. It is absolutely beautiful outside, probably close to 15 degrees Celsius when the sun comes out from behind the clouds, which it is. Oh, so beautiful. And the snow is melting off the garden, which is very exciting. But we'll get out of the wind here. It's probably quite windy sounding in that microphone. Whoa! What? That's okay, that's all right. Generally speaking, I usually wait until I have 3 sets of true leaves on my tomatoes. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So these ones right here are the cotyledons. These are the first leaves the tomato will get. This is the first set of leaves here. The second set and the third set is coming under here. But as you can see, my tomatoes are starting to get a little bit leggy. Long stems like this are caused by a light issue, but that is not the issue in this case. As you can see, this is a nice, thick, strong, sturdy stem. This is actually caused by the lack of soil I have going on in the bottom. And this is super easily remedied when I pot them up, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. I forgot my Sharpie and my popsicle sticks. Just one sec. I am on a mission this year to label everything really well. I have a labeling issue, I have to admit it. I usually start out okay, but then as things get moved around in this space and then between here and out in the garden and out to the high tunnel, things get mixed up. So I am going to be labeling every single tomato. I am determined. And I am also going to be potting up these cute little guys. These are lupins. And as you can see, lots of healthy root growth in there, but they are starting to get a little bit root bound. So I'm gonna pot these up as well, and let's see what else I have here. These are Delphiniums, and I think they probably are still good. We're starting to get some roots out of the bottom, but let me just check and see. Nope, that's looking like it's gonna need to be potted up as well. So we'll see how many pots I have to work with here. I may end up potting those up as well. Just to give you a visual around the importance of potting up, these are German chamomile, and this is what I seeded them in. I mean, I seeded them really heavily. There's probably 8 to 10 little seedlings in this, and they look okay, but not great. This one is one that I potted up from one of these trays about a week and a half ago, and there are about 4 plants per little pot like this, and as you can see, this is looking so much healthier, so much more beautiful. So this one got missed, so I will make sure that I pot these guys up as well. This is the first time I have grown German chamomile, and I definitely didn't need to start the seeds at the beginning of March because as you can see, we already have pretty little chamomile flowers on this, but I'll keep them in these pots until they start looking not great, and then I'll pot them up into larger pots and hopefully be able to limp them along until they can go outside at the end of May. And this beautiful tray of greens, this is kale, lettuce, and spinach. Wow. Spinach in the back here. And all of these I am actually going to be planting underneath this shelf here. This is the south side, so it still gets a lot of light underneath there. And I thought I would get a little head start on getting some greens and get these all planted. And I'm gonna plant another couple of trays of these today, just so that we can start having greens earlier. Normally I start all my lettuces by seed right into the garden at the end of May, but then I don't get any actual lettuce to eat until into the beginning of July. So this is gonna put us way ahead. You know what we should do before we get into any more of this video is to give you a quick overview of the space that we're working in. This string that's hanging down here is actually for that vent up there, but we covered up the hooks that they used to go on, so we're going to put some new hooks on right here to hook these strings back up to so that they're out of the way and not hanging down right in the middle of the space. As you can see here, we have one shelf going along the south side. This is the east side, and we did, like we said, put a shelf here and then a shorter or a narrower shelf on the top, and likewise on the north side. The reason that we did this was so that when I'm working here and I'm leaning, I don't bump my head. So I'm really happy about that. I don't have the bigger heater yet for nighttime. So what I have done is did my old trick of making a greenhouse in a greenhouse. This has been way, way easier than the ones that I normally do, where I just have the table set up on sawhorses and I have the plastic taped to the wall of the greenhouse, and it's just a huge pain in the butt. This, I just stapled it along the top and down the side here, and then what I do at night is I just move the seedlings from this side over underneath this cover and put a little heater in there, and it works perfectly well. And the nice thing is because of the shelf, I can just fold this up on top of it, and then it is out of the way, and super happy with that. I'm not going to need heat in here at night, probably by the beginning of May, and then I'll take all this plastic off, and by then all these shelves are going to be full anyway. What I use to pot up my tomatoes and all my other plants are these little paper pots, and these are just made out of newsprint. And they are super easy to make. I'll give you a quick little rundown. I've seen people make these all different sorts of ways. I learned how to make them from Serena from You Can't Eat the Grass. She uses a wine bottle that has kind of a curved in edge, but I use a regular mouth mason jar. Newspaper like this, and I like to fold my top edge down this way because I just find that it makes the pots a little bit more sturdy. And then I stick my jar with this end that's open towards the bottom of the pot. So this is going to go along the top edge, depending on the size of pot that you want. Actually, I want to make that one a little bit smaller. Last year I made my pots way too big and ended up having extra soil I didn't need. So once they're wrapped around the size that you want it, then you just fold over the top and kind of push it in this way, and then just pull out your jar and you have a little paper pot just like that. So it'll look like that on the inside. Don't worry about that, because when you fill it up with soil and push it down, then it makes a nice flat bottom and will sit no problem and hold together really well. I just thought this was so brilliant when I saw this on Serena's channel. This tomato has 2 in it, so what I'm gonna do to split them apart, they're a lot hardier than you would think, is sort of gently pry apart like so, the roots. So I have 2 little plants. And then this one, I'm gonna take off the bottom cotyledons because I'm going to be putting this whole entire and this bottom leaf as well. I'm gonna be putting this entire part of the stem down into my pot. Each one of these little hairs that you can see on here are potential roots, and a tomato, if it's just left to its own devices, will kind of fall down like this and start sending roots into the ground as it grows. We grow them in a little bit more of an artificial way for their natural tendencies, but what this does mean is that you can plant your plant down that far even, which is what I'm planning to do, and it will make a super sturdy and strong plant and send out roots all the way along. So I put a little bit too much dirt in that one. So let's put this little guy way down inside that pot. And then we will top it off with some dirt. I am so happy with the way my seedlings are looking this year. Last year I had issues with warmth in my grow room space. I didn't have it in an actual room, so it cooled off quite a bit, and I ended up with some stressed tomatoes. And the way you can tell that your tomatoes are stressed from cold is they will develop quite a strong purple underside. Some tomatoes are naturally that way, but most are not. And it's not usually something that's going to cause long-term damage, but it does slow down your growth. And then there we go. So now this plant has tons of space to grow for roots over the next couple of months. And we'll pop it over there. Did you find it?
No.
I'm already having a labeling issue. When the kids brought down this one tray of tomatoes, the label fell off. So I'm gonna have to go find it. These tomatoes These seeds were actually sent to me from a viewer in Estonia, and so I know it's around here somewhere, and I might even have it written down what kind of tomatoes these are. But since I know that that's what these ones are, then I'll just put them in one corner, and then hopefully I'll find the label somewhere. And one thing is, if you do divide any out by the roots, your plant will go into shock and it will kind of flop and droop like this. Don't worry about that. By the end of the day, it will probably have perked back up, and if not by the end of the day, definitely by the next day. So don't be alarmed if that happens. All right, so we have many of the tomatoes potted up, and I probably have dirt all over my face, I can imagine. And I have had to extend out the size of the little mini greenhouse because all of the little seedlings could not fit in there. Let me see if I can give you a little peek inside. Lots and lots of tomatoes, all potted up, and many, many, many yet to go. I won't come in and plug in the heater and get the heater going until the sun goes down behind the mountain and it starts to really cool off, and then I'll make sure to come and turn it off in the morning. That's really important because otherwise you can cook your plants pretty easily. I am going to head up to the house now. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!